This might be the ultimate luxury celebrity mobile, the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagen, but for 2025, it's all electric. The G-Wagen is notable for its large, square, boxy shape, its high ground clearance, that means it's capable of going anywhere, and inside, it's kind of a bulletproof vehicle. Not only can you install bulletproof glass, which a lot of people do because they might be driving in places that they might be the focus of attention, but it also is bulletproof in that it can take you anywhere and can get out of any situation. And in fact, in the electric version, there's more of that technology than you find in the gas-powered versions, which is one of the things that makes the G580 G-Wagen such a cool car. Be sure to follow us on our social channels, subscribe to us right here on YouTube, and if we put a video up in the corner, click on it. We picked it because we think you're going to like it. So what are the key details in the Mercedes-Benz G-Wagen, the G580? Well, 240 miles of all-electric driving, 580 horsepower, which is the 580 in its name, and this is the first edition, and it is the first of the 2025 models to get a full redesign. What has Mercedes done in this full redesign? Well, it's pretty cool. They've added a lot of things that they haven't added in G-Wagons of past that you might have seen in other Mercedes vehicles, because Mercedes took a very studied approach in turning the G-Wagen into a modern marvel of everything Mercedes can do, and yet keeping that classic look, feel, and function of the G-Wagen. So behind the wheel of the Mercedes G-Wagen electric version, the G580 EQS, it's everything that you expect and want in a G-Wagen. So you can even kind of probably see that the ride is a little rumbly because it is this big square bulk brick of an SUV. So it is a little rumbly, but it's everything that you expect. The doors clunk in a nice way. The aerodynamics are not great. It's really designed for off-roading, not for on-roading and street driving as much. It's very comfortable for that, but really where its sweet spot is on the off-road trail. And it feels and drives like a G-Wagen, and there's nothing to complain about. It's nice that it has some sort of mechanical sounds to it, so you definitely hear it. You hear the motors ramp up, but you also hear sort of in a whirring electrical way versus the rumbling gas engine sound that you might be used to in a full-size SUV like this. It has that tank feel to it, and I don't mean that in a bad way. That's something that we expect from an SUV like this. We expect it to feel like a general purpose, military style SUV or vehicle that can go anywhere, do anything, that's not only rough and ready and capable, but it's also sort of bulletproof, meaning it can go anywhere, literally through war zones, bulletproof glass, and a lot of people do outfit them that way, to just making those mundane drives and finding adventure in your free time. And it feels good behind the wheel. I'm going to say I really like this. The drive feel is pretty good. On the front of the G-Wagen, you'll see there is the Mercedes badge, and even though it has a front grille, it doesn't really need that front grille because there is no gas-powered motor underneath the hood. In fact, that is where all the mechanics are, so there's no front trunk either. Then it's also notable for its round headlights and then this lower grille here, because batteries do need some air intake for cooling. You'll notice there are these strips here along the sides. We have both this blue detail, which denotes that this is electric, and then reflectors. And we have these strips all the way on the side of the G-Wagen. There's also an EQ badge here, and this tells us that this is the EQ, or electric quotient, technology under the quote-unquote hood of the G-Wagen that powers this SUV. You'll see the G580 badge right here. Again, is notable for being very classic G-Wagen, and it has two things that are both modernized but still iconic. In the other G-Wagen models, you'll see a spare tire on the back. Well, Mercedes didn't add that because it really adds weight. So instead of a spare tire, they added what they're calling a backpack, and that is a storage compartment. You can leave your charging cord and some other things back here. It's kind of cute. It really is more of window dressing than function, the way the tire would be. And then it also has the classic swing gate. So opening the cargo space, you'll see there is a lot of room back here. There's about 70 cubic feet of space back here, so lots of space. It is a 2-row, 5-passenger SUV, also in the classic style of the G-Wagen. The interior of the G-Wagen is everything we want and know and love and expect in a Mercedes, but it's also a G-Wagen, so you will need these kind of narrow running boards to hop into the car, and then you'll enjoy that very solid thunk of a close of the door. And that's something that we're not used to seeing in every new car these days, but it's something that you will really appreciate in the G-Wagen. Once you get in, now this is a little clunky, the wireless phone charge pad is right here on the center console, and then this is also where our cup holders are. So I think it's a little clunky because it's hard to get my phone into that spot if I have my tall Starbucks here, but actually it's pretty ideal. You put your phone there and charge it, you connect it to the multimedia system, and then you're hands off and eyes off your phone, and everything is here to do everything that you need while you're driving. So let's talk about what you get here. From here up, it's all what we expect in a modern Mercedes. All of that great function, especially the EQS function, or the EQ function. And the screen is dual function, so you can tap it and it's a touch screen and you can scroll through. You can also use the haptic command mouse here as well, so it gives you both choices. On the center console is where you're going to find the volume dial, the drive mode selector, and then your cameras, quick buttons for radio and map, and a favorite button that you can set up things however you like. This one has massaging seats, 170 grand and massaging seats. I think that was a good choice. We do have a sunroof over the front seat. There is a control panel here with a Burmester speaker. So this is where you're going to find controls for interior lighting and the sunroof here. And then these really beautiful lights here that light up shine like diamonds when they are on. You'll also find a lot of classic G-Wagen details. The window controls are over here on the door, but the seat controls are pretty classic Mercedes. They're on the side of the door panel. You'll find there's a grab bar here, but in classic Mercedes luxury style, it is covered in leather and it has carbon fiber panel there. There's carbon fiber details here on the surround. We'll see them on the door. And because this is an electric, the accent detail is blue stitching. Below the screen, there are two turbine style air vents here. We have them on the side as well. Over here is where you'll find the stop start button. And it starts with this sort of whirring sound that mimics a little bit what you might experience in the gas-powered version. And then over here is our home screen. So I can set navigation, I can connect my phone, radio. If you've been in a Mercedes, all of this seems very familiar. Vehicle settings are there. Here's our off-road settings, which we can access there or on the off-road panel. And then we have this. Hey Mercedes,
how can I help?
Cancel. That system is fantastic. It's cloud connected and it will help you with whatever you need, whether it's navigation, finding a location, or just answering a trivia question from, rom-coms from the 1980s. Mercedes can help you with that. Then we have this digital driver display here. And this is where you're going to see all of the features and all of the information that we're used to seeing, including your level of recuperation and how many miles are left on your range. You can see we're charged to 34% and we have 93 miles. Now this does have a range of about 240 miles, but it does tell us that max would be 93 if we're being really efficient, 77 miles if we're driving it perhaps off-road and using that energy for other things other than city driving. We have our driver assist features here, which are more powerful, and there are more features in the driver assist system for the 2025 G-Wagen than we've had in the past. And then our multimedia assist systems here. Down here, there is the off-road panel, which this is where you're going to get things like the G-turn. That is a whole process that allows the four wheels to turn in opposite directions and essentially spin the car. And then you can put it in low range and you can choose some of your other off-road selections. And that is, you're going to start here with your drive mode selector. So there is, our drive modes include individual, sport, comfort, trail, which is really for off-road driving, and then rock. And that's where we want to activate the rock drive program. And that's where we can put this car into low range. So this is where you find the G-turn, which is a very novel thing, but there's also G-steering, which allows all four wheels to help navigate through tricky situations. And then we have our camera system, and there's a cool function here. In the camera system, you can actually see underneath the vehicle. So there's a camera that shows you what is underneath the car. You'll see the pavement here, and then as I drive over things or drive around things, I'll be able to see that there as well. And in the camera system, you can also select the view that you want. So while the G-Wagen is a great SUV for, say, families or people with extra passengers, it's not the roomiest. And you're going to appreciate this grip in getting into it because it is a step up. But everybody sits pretty upright, and even though this is not the roomiest rear seat, I have plenty of space. So I've got a lot of leg room here, plenty of headroom, and the reason is because it's such a tall SUV and nobody's sitting at an angle, everybody is sitting pretty upright. There are seats for 3. We've got child passenger car seat anchors on either side, so full set of latches in the 2 outboard seats. There is a fold down armrest with cup holders here. There are air vents here, and you can change the fan speed and the temperature for rear seat passengers, 2 USB ports and a 12-volt power outlet, and no sunroof. There is a sunroof in the front, but not over the rear seats. The window controls are here, and the rear seats are heated. So rear seat passengers will be very comfortable if it's cold outside. But I know you're asking, how is the G-Wagen for child passenger car seats? Well, if you're considering installing a rear-facing child passenger car seat, think about it carefully and measure your car seat and make sure it fits. We know that the rear-facing car seat should not touch the back of the seat in front of it. This seat is set for me, and I'm 5'8", and I have just 29 inches. So if you're taller than 5'8", a rear-facing child passenger car seat may not fit in here. Forward-facing, you'll be fine. There's plenty of space for that. There's space for 2, and you might actually even be able to fit a passenger here in the middle seat because we have 13 inches between the 2 seat belts. So lots of space for a full-size passenger there. It's a relatively flat floor here, so you also have this footwell space for somebody to sit in the middle. Although I will say it's a little tight, and they may not be super comfortable on a long drive. And if your foot is larger than size 8, it's probably not going to fit in here. But great space. You could probably put a rear-facing child passenger car seat in this middle seat and not have the issue of it bumping up against these seats. But it's something that you should think about very carefully because this is not a car that's designed for that kind of family driving. Because it's electric, you can choose your level of regeneration. You'll see there is a recuperation gauge right here on the driver display, and you can see how much energy you're gaining back as you drive. And that really happens when you lift your foot off the accelerator or even tap the brake. How do you gain that maximum recuperation? Well, by pulling the left paddle. So you could pull the right paddle to release the regeneration if you wanted to drive more like a car and less like an electric car, which I don't know if you can see, but notice how my body sort of falls forward a little bit when I lift my foot off the accelerator. And when I accelerate back, I go back in the seat. And that is just using acceleration. I'm not using the brake at all. And that's the recuperation mode at work. If I want to release that and make that a little less insistent, a little less powerful, I can pull the right paddle. But to gain the max regen, you pull the left paddle because these are paddle shifters for regenerative braking, not for shifting through gears. With a starting price of $170,000, and I promise you it's going to go up from there. The first edition G-Wagen for 2025 really impresses. The technology is great. Whether you opt for the gas version or the all-electric version, you're really going to appreciate the electric door handles, the keyless entry and start, and all of the technology that is included now in the G-Wagen. With 4 motors to power this car, with 4 motors, 1 powering each wheel in the G-Wagen, the electric version might actually prove to be more popular because it does a lot more than the gas-powered version does, especially on the off-road. But really, the mission here was to keep the G-Wagen looking and feeling like a G-Wagen should, and that is mission accomplished.